It's time for change to move into the real work of the universe. And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of the man. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent his messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the message, not to oppose. But by them understanding through those who have become Messiahs, to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque and in the same church in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion. That is used to create so much conflict for the benefit of those who were the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, the path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness. By giving will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to become arrogant in the power that you have understood and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised, and this is what we have delivered. We have to understand the operation of the soul, and we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. It carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul, so has the old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the field, we are clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees, that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of a president. They all shine irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look through our soul, we see nothing but we star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand, if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that the physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community. To be there to serve, to expand. To be there, to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of the physical life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life, in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new beginning, a new cycle. Which that cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process.
Welcome everyone to the 62nd One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace. It's Tuesday, January 15th, 2019. I'm your host, Rick Cremond, and as usual in this show, we're joined with Carolina Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, and I think she's ready, willing, and able in the wings coming out on stage. Are you there, Carolina? I believe she's here. Let's see. Maybe she's not able to connect right now. Hi, Carolina.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome everybody and a happy new year for the ones which we have not had in the meetings. My screen was frozen as usual. When you share certain things, my screen just goes whoom. So we have a lot to do. We have a brand new year to start with. As we say, it's like starting from the starter line to go for another few hundred days. I hope you all had a nice Christmas and New Year. Some of you will spend it in the sun, some of you will spend it in the snow or in the rain or in the cold. I just hope you all have a nice cup of tea or coffee and a nice comfortable chair. And let's start today. I have asked Rick and other people to keep an eye on what has changed since we went through the change of the year from 2018 to 2019. If anyone has noticed any specific changes on any level worldwide that you have noticed, paid attention to, or said, whoa, where did this come from? Anybody any news?
Well, one big news that's happening is the U.S. government has been in what they call a temporary shutdown mode, and there's many federal workers which aren't being paid right now, and various parts of the U.S. Government and regulations and so on are shut down, and with no end in sight at this moment. So this is pretty big news. It's affects the world. That's the way that the year started, is with the U.S. Kind of with their hands tied as far as their own government goes. And we find, strangely enough, it just occurs to me, I'll just interject that also in Britain, Brexit, they have their separation of Brexit, and they're in complete turmoil right now, according to the news last night, because they have wanted to pull out, they voted to pull out, and now they're not so sure, and they're back and forth, and it's splitting everything up. It's causing a huge division in the way things work in that country, and of course for Europe and so on as well.
How about France?
Yes, that would be a prime example as well of yet another developed country that seems in turmoil internally, not able to any longer go with this one-party system that makes all the rules, and it seems like it's upsetting the others one way or another. Typing, I think, Carolina. Let me guess. You can hear on there. Thanks. So that's a couple of examples. Where else do we find similar things? I mean, look at all the trouble they're going through in Saudi Arabia is another example, perhaps. There's a lot of conflict there. There was just a girl that's come under the international spotlight. She left Saudi Arabia and became a refugee and claimed asylum and got asylum just yesterday in Canada. And so this 18-year-old teenager is now she was Saudi, and she's now a Canadian, becoming a Canadian citizen, or she's a Canadian refugee. And this has caused some international attention, you might say, as well, to the whole crisis of people moving around the world and the refugee situations in many countries and so on. So there is a lot going on out there in the world. What are some other things that people have noticed?
Can I add something?
Mm-hmm.
Estela from California. Here we had the fires, and a lot of people die and a lot of damages. And apparently there are lawsuits against the utility company PG&E And I think it was yesterday or this week, they are planning to go bankrupt, you know, to avoid the pay the damages to the people. So it's a big deal what's going on.
Yeah, they're looking
they want to, it's like
billions.
they don't want to take accountability and responsibility. And the way how this utility, you know, works here is pretty much they are very authoritarian, and I can't believe that they're trying to avoid the responsibility, which I think is pretty bad, you know. So,
yeah, they didn't maintain their lines and situation properly, and when you're living in California, which is such a high fire zone, it's important that every single thing, so that if a transformer gets overloaded or something, that doesn't cause a fire. And apparently a lot of overloads and other issues with their system actually caused many of the fires that were going on. So yeah, that's a big issue, because that's the infrastructure of a developed country, and that's sort of what's happening. The developed countries find it difficult to keep maintaining these very expensive high-tech systems. And
yeah, but my point of view is like certain authorities, so they are not accountable for actions, and you know, if you break the law, you don't pay the DMV or something, they give you a ticket, and you know, the normal people, you have to you know, be accountable for everything what they impose on your head. And for example, another thing here, the vaccines, if any kid gets sick and they need medical attention for life, the vaccines are not accountable. So, you know, they can do whatever they want. And my point is that it's like, you're supposed to be accountable for any action you do. So then you really think before what you're doing, you know?
Well, there was a major CEO of a major pharmaceutical company that was just arrested a couple of days ago because of his, they were basically dealers for the heavy pain-killing drugs. And that's why the pain-killing drugs are now the top killer in North America. It used to be car crashes, and now it's pain-killing drugs. And the top CEO just got nailed, and he is going to prison for 3 years for his role in being a dealer for painkillers, because they had a whole system worked out in order to get everyone hooked on painkillers through the doctors. And that's busted. So it's kind of encouraging, I find, that these pharmaceutical companies are held to their responsibility, at least. Not that it's going to help all the people. It'll take decades to sort out the mess that's already gone on in the past decade. So, and it's the people that pay one way or another, and they don't necessarily get the money back from all these lawsuits and so on that go on. The government might get paid, but you know, it's not really fair, it seems. It's like you say, it's these corporations aren't necessarily paying their way. Okay, so how can we tie that in? I think Caroline wants us to think about tying that into to some of our wishes, perhaps, that we've had in the past. I was looking at some of those earlier. See if I can pull up that section. See. Had the different commandments, but before the commandments, we had specific wishes for City of Science and Culture to be set up, the Universal Council University to be set up in Austria was another wish. Caroline's wish was to elevate all the hyperactive children wherever they are and that the truth be revealed. Well, maybe that's the process that that's being gone through now with many of the hyperactive children. Their world is kind of being falling apart because the carefully laid plans are now being seen for what they are. Basically, either profit-taking or control issues that are going on. And the control over the situation seems to be less strong as we go along, and more of the truth seems to be coming out, the way that things really are behind the scenes. Seems like those in authority can't really get away with things the way they used to. There's too many cameras all over the place and too many people watching and too many people that are aware of their intentions and so on. So perhaps it's a more difficult world for the world leaders to get away with anything. They have to become more and more transparent as they go along. We would hope so, at least.
Hi, good day, everybody. It's Mehran. I'm glad to be back. In news, I don't watch TV very much. I mean, almost, but it seems like Mr. Trump and some people have decided to see into Federal Reserve Bank, and I don't know what's going on after they see there is nothing there. So maybe they might create some events to cover it up. I don't know what they're going to invent, but probably there's going to be things happening in the news. I hope it's going for the peace.
I know what's going on with that. The Federal Reserve is no longer all the funds, and they've been taken away. They have no authority. That there were some contract or something that completely finished, and there is it's a trust with all the, how do you call it, the resources of the planet that is under protection, and it's being executed by the group of people that they have the goal for the health of the planet and the future. Also, they vote for a bill where they're removing all the taxes because never the taxes of this country went to the country, went to another entity, which is, everybody knows, it's a group of people. They call it the crown, but it's not the crown. And England is, the group of people that have been controlling the planet. And so this would be the beginning of the, I don't know how to say, sovereignty, or like the, being sustainable. This country, it will become a country now, like the United States would be America. And well, it's a slow process. It's not in the public, but there was a bill that is supposed to vote for that. And apparently some people, they vote, no, but they're the powers and this distrust. So they cannot do nothing about it, because some of the like the wages or income is being paid by this trust right now. So they're going to create a new bank in the new monetary system, and it's in a process, and its formation is coming very slow. I've been following, and I believe it, you know. So everything is taken with pliers, right? But I trust this process is going to come, and this is going to affect all the countries, and everybody's going to have their own sovereignty and a restructuring of everything. So,
yeah, we should pray. I hope. It seems like there's tendency to have less wars, because it seems like the pattern of the war doesn't work like before, so that's a good thing.
Well, the peace treaty changed everything. Because this peace treaty was signed, that's what really changed the whole dynamic in the planet. And that was a bless.
Yeah, we did have news recently. I think in our last One Nation, where the news came in that Mr. Trump had decided to pull out of Syria, to pull the troops that they had there out of Syria. But then in the last month or so, that's been taken back, that they can't just suddenly take all the troops out, because it leaves a power vacuum that will be, means the Kurds that they were protecting there would now be attacked by Turkey and so on. And so now the US has had to retract on that statement, and they say they're pulling out of Syria, and they're starting to take their equipment out and so on, but they need to have a presence there to allow the transition to whoever maintains the power in that particular corner of Syria. So it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out eventually. And again, it gets into, it's a confusing situation where who's the friends and who's the enemies, and who are we and who are they, and who are we supposed to be fighting, who are they supposed to be fighting, and so on and so forth. And it's so confusing that they can't even make a decision, because it affects all the other groups, and it affects the other chess pieces on the chessboard. And it's such a delicate situation that even those that know seem to have trouble making decisions. I know the Canadian government was supporting the Kurds up until recently, and they were supposed to be the good guys that would help settle things out in that part of the world. And of course, they're just part of one side that is with one perspective, and there's others on not just another side, but on several edges or several sides, you could say. It's no longer an us and them scenario. It's us and many of them, or many of us and many of them, but all the us's and them's are not together either. It's all temporary agreements in order to keep the weapons being sold, it seems. But so in any case, there's a lot going on in that part of the world as well, and we do see strong hints of peace from all sides, and we also see the hints of those that want to carry on with the weapons, and they are becoming more and more obvious as to their intentions as we go along, which is to make money and sell weapons. Because that's what they've done for so long. Okay, any other comments?
We have another news. As of last Monday, the United States is studying how to bring Iran down.
Well, they've always done that. What would be different about it?
They're going into deep studies in the Pentagon to do this.
Well, they've always done that, though. It's just they announced it, you mean? There was a special announcement about that?
It came out in the main newspapers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they're definitely doing their sword rattling thing, and that's the objective of part of the U.S. Powers that be.
Well, I don't think it's serious because they're saying that for 10 years or more. The thing is, it costs very much for them, financially and otherwise, and I don't know if they can afford to do such a thing. I think there are so many problems inside U.S. with people, with poor people, that they better take care of these people in their country instead of spending a lot of money for a small group of and spend all that money.
That's been the habit of the U.S. That's the way they tend to do things when they get into a bad financial situation, and they declare a war, and that's how they make money. Because they're a war weapon, the top weapon producing nation of the world. And in order for them to survive, they have to sell weapons. And not just sell them, but sell repeat sales of the ammo and all the stuff, the technology that goes with them. So this is where we need to find ways of doing what's called technology transfers, so that we can take the weaponized technology and reconvert it to technology that can be used for the benefit of the humans on the planet. So, I mean, there's examples of that Mr. Keshe has given before, where he's actually helped convert factories from weapons factories into piano factory, for example. And you might use the crates that they used to ship the weapons in to make it into the wood for for a piano or for some other instrument or for some other tool that would be useful. Or you might use the metal for recast it into different material, different design, different manifestation, so that it could be something delightful and useful rather than something horrible and destructive.
Well, the issue is that there are corporations that they organize this military and to boost the economy, and my wish is to transform all those organizations to put all the energy in constructive goals for humanity, and also empowering all those souls that they want to participate in this big journey of maintaining and restoring the peace and rebuilding the planet, so we can have abundance in a different way. So that's my wish.
Nice. Thank you, Estella.
The thing is, Mr. Cash said, this technology, you like it or you accept it by fear. So well, I'm not worried about America attacking country because simply they cannot afford it, and they cannot afford to sell, to tell people the lies like before, like in Iraq, like in Libya. So people know who benefits from these wars of America, and they cannot hide behind the ideas of democracy and liberty for people, and they don't want to pay for these expensive wars, which they just get poorer and poorer, and worried about their future. I think in Europe it will be like that also. People want their money for themselves, and they are more aware. They are very much aware compared to the last 20 years. They know who profits from all that, and they don't want to spend the money they work for things that that they don't profit for themselves and their families. And they like peace. I think normal people like peace with their family, having a normal life, enjoy things which you have. It's very difficult to have an idea of the war. I think for me, personally, I don't know how I can go and kill somebody who has done nothing to me. And it's so hard, I think, to convince people to do that these days.
Yes, good point, Mehran. And also, people are very aware of the refugee situation. If you look at Europe as an example, or even North America, people have this concern about what they consider too many refugees coming into what they consider their country. And that's a really big issue. And now people are starting to make the connection that, oh, if we go and invade a country and mess it up and take down their structures and so on, yes, there's refugees. And guess where they end up going? They're back to the countries that are the invaders. And that's the way it should be. Because if you invade a country, you are then responsible for that country, responsible for the people of that country and for the infrastructure and everything else within that country. And if they aren't taking care of those countries after invading them, then they can very well expect to be invaded back by the refugees that they have liberated, or not liberated, but caused from the situation. So it's kind of an instant karma thing now. And I think that the people of the countries of the world are realizing that the wars are just not working out. It's causing huge amounts of travel, involuntary travel amongst people of the planet. They're not there as sightseers. They're there to establish themselves because they are running away from a very bad situation somewhere else. So this is something that needs to be addressed more and more in a way that accommodates the refugees and accommodates the people in the countries that expect to have some sort of semblance of their lifestyle retained. So different. Sorry, there's someone there. I hear a voice.
I just said yes. I was thinking that's what it is. People get identified with the people who immigrate. They are friends. They see they are exactly like them. They love their children. So people get conscious that what does it mean? Why do we do that? Why should they come here and and beg in the street while they have their houses and things like that. And they see the begging in the cities of Europe, and that's not normal. That's not something people used to see. Millions of what would come and beg in Paris or Berlin, and these people had their farms, had their family reunions. They were joyful, they were happy, they were civilized. I mean, they had a quiet, normal life. And now all of a sudden they come in the cold. They have to eat something, and that's shocking.
Yes, thank you. And a couple other items, like from Rick Newcomb in the chat here, mentions that President Trump said that slavery has never been a bigger problem in the United States and the whole world. Says human trafficking of women and children through the USA is a problem that we will overcome. And he says, I am present. Yes, we've heard that announcement recently, and we can see that the UN has a report that just came out that the trafficking of women and children in particular, but actually men as well, in many countries of the world is a very, very big problem. And they actually, let me see if I can, let me see if I had a report on that recently. I don't see it offhand here though, but they gave the statistics and how it's mostly, most of the human trafficking happens within your own country. So the problem with the trafficking in the United States is not so much of the people coming into the United States as it is the people that are already in the United States get trafficked. And that can happen everything from types of slavery, from everything from hiring a nanny to prostitution and so on. And that this is, it's a big item. It's a very big item that affects all communities. And it's in no particular country. It affects all countries, some more than others, some way more than others. Africa, for example, is the buying and selling of people is a big business, and in many other countries as well. So the issue of human trafficking has been coming up recently. And just to mention in the chat also, Piggy mentions the president of the World Bank has resigned. And that was a sudden resignation, just happened a couple of days ago. He was planning on being there another 3 years. So he's going off into some other private sector job or whatever. And so we have a lot of sort of upset and division happening on the planet. And on the other hand, there seems to be a coming together of the people in a way. Look at what's called the yellow jackets of the newest French Revolution, and how that is spreading virally through Europe and other countries. They even had a yellow vest groups in solidarity here in Canada.
And Rick.
Who's that, Mark?
It's Mark. Do you know where that idea of the yellow vests came from? I heard it this last week, I think. Are you familiar with the idea of the yellow vest?
Well, just that it's the safety vests worn by the ordinary workers, but is there another backstory behind that? Tell us about it.
Well, I heard a quick story that in France, everybody is supposed to have one in their car. And when the car breaks down, you stand on the side of the road with the yellow vest on, and that means you're in distress. And someone will come and hopefully help you.
That's in all Europe. And the purpose is to not be hit by a car, to get visible on the road if you have an issue that you have to walk on the highway.
I thought it was also to signal you're possibly in distress and need help.
Not necessarily, because those who are working to clean the roads, they wear the same color.
Oh, I know, for safety, yes. Yep. But anyway, the human trafficking, I was exposed to that back in the, well, many years ago with the original book by John DeCamp, Nebraska state senator and highest ranking Vietnam veteran, I think. And it was called The Franklin Cover-Up, the original book. And you can see how the war machine and everything else is tied into the human trafficking and so on. Excuse, there's a phone ringing in the background. Let me mute. But anyway, I think that what we're seeing here is a standoff between the war machine and the people that don't want any world war. And so Mr. Trump is sort of standing alone here against a huge force of an operation. But on the other side, you have China, Russia, India, other countries, and most of the population of the world, so that don't want war. But I sent him an email yesterday about the wall and the so on and elevating his wife. So I think, yeah, it's all tied into what we're seeing. And I've noticed recently that this is the least warmongering I've heard from the media in so long. And this is the most exposing of human trafficking, organ trafficking. CNN did a long interview with someone from the Trump administration and so on CNN. You can find that. So yes, this is a network that's been going on for a long time. And it's being exposed. And I know Mr. Keshe also said that, or someone else said that General Flynn, for example, is testifying in some background stuff about some of these networks and so on and what's going on, where he knows all the details. And that's one of the reasons he was targeted. So yeah, I think it's all working very nicely. As Mr. Keshe said, we're coming along. Not that we're going to not have a hyperactive child, have a tantrum or something, but it's moving, I think, in the right direction. It's just the fear of the unemployment. And of course, the wars also, Mr. Keshe said, were for oil. That's it, simply put. And then, of course, we have the idea of the depopulation, using war, famine, and disease, and so on. But yeah, I think Trump is facing not insurmountable odds, and he's doing a very, very good job. And that's what I told him. Told him to drop the wall. We're building bridges, and we're going to the one planet, one nation, one race for world peace. I asked actually that his wife would take up that mantle, as Diana did with the landmines, the leftover landmines and so on, where she was on a mission to clean all that up and all the areas left over from the wars, where there's millions of landmines still in the grounds of the planet.
Yes. I actually had the vision and wish that the President Trump's wife was also going to start some major movement, or I know she's involved in several movements and so on, but I think that that's going to come to the forefront somehow in the next while.
Right. And that way, how husbands are. He says, well, look, my wife wants world peace. I can't stop that.
Who am I to argue? Yeah, good point, Mark.
Excuse. And I also gave him a little a little quote, I believe it's from President Lincoln in the United States, where he used to refer to the press or the media as reliable, a reliable source. They lie and they re-lie. So I've really heard them selling a lot less war lately. So this is a very good sign.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, they're the salesmen for the ideas that we need to go to war, we need to have war, we need to do this.
Thank you very much. I think that was all the news topics that we could share with one another. Can we move towards the topic of the teaching, the last one just before the new year? And what can we do as knowledge seekers with that news? Anyone, any ideas to share?
What are you referring to specifically, Caroline, the teaching?
The last teaching before New where you received the gift of the gates, the portals.
Ah, okay.
Anybody, any questions about that?
Yes. I was one. Are you talking about the one where he said we created? I mean, does many things, but the one where we created our own problem that in the spectroscope, like the GANs is causing matter to behave differently, and we create a problem? No. Okay.
No. I'm talking about the positive, which the portals will be starts getting set up in the different positions on this planet to interact with the universal community.
Okay, and they're going to be built by the universal community, as I understand.
We will create them. We already have the portals. People yet, because the awareness, as Mr. Keshe said, is not present.
Okay, I thought. No, I thought we were going to circumvent the spaceship, taking man through that way, and we were going to go directly to the portals. And Mr. Keshe, I thought he had said that he had suggested that to the universal community, and that we in the portal, that the way they travel.
I asked specific that question for there not to be any confusion, and that is that once the portals, let's say we start with one portal, which apparently is going to be, just 1 second, please, which will start in China. Once the portal is established, we will be able to learn and communicate, and most probably also have visual appearance of the universal community. He apparently has stopped the traveling with the spaceships because we do not know, or we are not mature enough yet, apparently, to be able. It's been cancelled. So they have come to an agreement. If you go back to that teaching or that presentation, Mr. Keshe said, when the portal is established, then humanity can learn in a safe way, and also for the universal community to be safe, to be interacting with us, to learn how to interact with one another. We need too much to learn. We need to learn from them, and in exchange, they need to get to know us as well. So a lot of things need to be established before anyone of this planet will be able to go anywhere. But as meaning of traveling, Mr. Keshe said, we can use the portals to go. And I think that came into the explanation of the previous teachings, that mankind might end up and create more chaos somewhere else, and that I think that will be the priority for that not to happen. I think there needs to be more maturity on this planet, and that's the reason why I brought it up into today's platform. Because if you analyze what we have spoken about within the first hour of this platform, not so many things are looking so very well to one another on this planet. We haven't even touched the platform of the environment, nor the animal world, nor the fauna and flora. We only been speaking about humanity. The reason, as he explained before, he's taken us through the teaching of understanding to come to understand who we are and what we are, is to go through the matter state. We learn to do the nano coating. We learn to create the ganses. We've learned to understand how they work, how they interact, how they are beneficiary for us and our environment and the animals and the plant world. To learn, to acknowledge, to accept that it's not a dream or a fallacy that this new knowledge has brought, because we all, through our testimonies and our own experience, we know it works. It brings the change. Then Mr. Keshe has brought us to the platform of the MAGRAPH system, where the most important lesson was to give first, to be able to receive. Then he's moved on to the star formation. And then he has moved on to the flight system. As we all know, he mentioned few teachings after he was calling up for the support of the different research and development centers and the other people which are working on the flight systems to support them with your gift of giving. And then he came back with a message that is not working, because the people which are working on one system, let's say 3 or 4 or 5 people or a team, they need to be able to establish to go all in the same direction of the wishing of what they are created, serve the purpose for it to serve. He acknowledged that that was not being done or could not be achieved. This reflects to all of us again that we need to know in what direction we are wishing and working and for what purpose it will serve. If we are not all in one line up to go for world peace, and it's the same, I think I used that explanation, and that was an explanation that how Mr. Keshe explained. You know, all those big, huge meditations with 40,000, 10,000, 5,000, 1,000, 200, 550, that they are not working. Because people don't know why they sit down and for what purpose that will serve, that they go into those white marshes, those meditations for peace, because each individual has a different wish within himself. So we are not aligned in one direction for one purpose to serve. One beautiful thing that came out, which Estella said just now, is that they see changes because the world peace has been signed. The World Peace Treaty is not even enough advertised that the people are aware that they are signed in the World Peace Treaty. To make the awareness more apparent, for that consciousness to come on the surface that we are one. And we made sure that we are all under that banner of the world peace. It should be appearing everywhere on every channel we can, to be proud that we achieved that signing of that World Peace Treaty. This is also the reason why we have the wish list today on the table. And through that working, we create that purpose to serve from so many knowledge seekers. So the flight systems have been abandoned because apparently the one direction of the purpose to serve has not been achieved on time, or is not apparent yet. You always will find the answers why certain things take a different course of event, but you got to listen very carefully. You have to go back to the certain topics where he explains, Mr. Keshe, why the course has changed. I noticed one beautiful gift for humanity. I do not know how many people have registered. That is that he declared that the programming of dying will be terminated. So we don't need to die. We don't need to go through the process of dying anymore, because we're going to need all the manpower and all the giving and all the creation of the knowledge. We're going to need to be here for a much longer time to serve. He also has put the wish down that we need to increase the population up to 25 billion people to be able to sustain the process of humanity to go to that new stage. So in our working, I think it would be nice to start creating the abundance of the projects which are on the table. The knowledge is on the table. The know-how is on the table. Which direction are we going to work for? What purpose to serve? We have all the elements on the table. We have the teachings, we have the knowledge, we have the understanding, we have it in the layers of agriculture, energy, medical, health. It's all there. The World Peace Treaty has been signed. We have the Constitution. We have the completion of the commandments. We have the Charter of the Soul. All the packages have been delivered. One thing came in the teaching of yesterday, in the soul teaching, which was beautiful. Marie brought it yesterday. And that is that once you understand, you become part of that soul which initiated that knowledge. What have we understood, each one of us? And what are we and where are we applying it? All of you, please come and share your understanding and how you're applying it. Because when you bring it on the table, then you will inspire other people to come maybe to the missing link of what they didn't understand. And that's how we are elevating. That's how we are growing so fast. I put a wish yesterday on the table for the knowledge seekers, and I'm putting it back today. As we do not know where we made the starting point of killing. We do not know why we started taking life. We have no understanding, and it's not in the in-between layers of the recent history that we know of. the wish should be that we can go back to the point when it's just before it started, that we can unlock that understanding, because once we understand, because it will reveal itself, then we can rise above it. So each knowledge seeker, please create a wish. For that, most probably it might come to one of the knowledge seekers. It might come to a part of somewhere, something that will come on the surface, or Mr. Keshe will share it with us. But we have to create the gate for it to be revealed, that we can understand why we came to that twist point. Because if we understand, then we can go above it. There is still too much bloodshed and too much nasty, which is still present. And I think if we go to the source of it and reveal it, we might understand and go above it. So we can create a very beautiful wish for the China portal to open up with our support, that it can go smooth, that we receive all the scientists from all over the world to work and to sit down in peace on the table to start this project. If you listen and you go back to that part of the teaching, Mr. Keshe explains that when we invite them to be present, they will invite us as a courtesy, or we can create that kind of courtesy so that there is an interaction, and then you will be safe, you will be guided. That if you would go with the spaceship now, we would not, literally absolutely not know where the destination is or where we're going to end up. And Mr. Keshe keeps on opening that box. You might have your arms there and your legs there, and you might be going there or there. So I think the portals are a safeguarding and a positive way to mature humanity, to learn, to start traveling in space. What do you think? Any?
Remind our attendees they can put their hand up and we can allow you to talk. Perhaps we need to know more about the portals and what that might look like, as far as what kind of interactions are part of the world of the portals.
If I ask you that question, Rick, or anybody else, if I speak, or when Mr. Keshe start talking about the portals, what appeared in your vision? Because it triggered an image with me, like a visual image, not so much in the matter state, but visually. Maybe other knowledge seekers have gotten a twinkle of a view, and maybe we can compare one another how we saw it appearing in our vision. Pete?
Yeah, like what was the instant thing that you got when you first heard that idea of
Yes.
portal?
Yes, exactly.
like for me, it was and still is. It's I see a tube, like a sort of semi-transparent, huge tube that appears on the surface of the planet and goes kind of straight up, and you know, it would be sort of foggy and sort of not like a shiny tube of plastic or something, but more like just a vaporous area that is markedly different than the rest of the planet. You can tell it's like an elevator or a tube that just goes vertical. Maybe
Rick,
it's glowing.
Rick, may I you've seen them already. All of you have already seen them. Do you remember on Facebook, they've shown those circle like light rays on the earth, all the way going up in different colors? I didn't take a screenshot from them, so I don't have them in my photo library. But does anyone remember they're like, you know, when they bring those pictures from the Northern Lights, but these are different. These are cylinder formed, huge, and there are several ones in different places. So the portals are already there. People just didn't understand what they saw. They took pictures of it, they videoed them. If anybody has access to their library, if they have taken screenshots of, or you can find them, you can bring them on the screen, you will understand. But then you have to multiply the size of this kind of way of rays. We've seen them, but we were not aware that we already seen them. Bring that. Does that bring a memory?
I'm not sure the Facebook reference that you're referring to. I don't know which image.
They appeared on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
People are already trying to find them.
Carolina?
Yes.
Hi, it's Peggy.
Hi, Peggy.
I had put in the chat and Christian asked me to speak, so I apologize for my voice today. But on the Stargate or portal, as you're calling them, I have felt that I have been with a Stargate where I am for many decades. And Estella had put into the chat that she was thinking like an eye. And that is basically like the shape, if you think of the upper and lower eyelid, the shape that's, it's not quite oval, but similar. And it does open similar to an eye. And then there are beautiful colors in an area that is not, it's not blue like the sky and it's not white like the clouds, but there is a space. And it's always there. It's just a matter of if you're focusing on it and if it will allow you to see it, you have to, it's the purpose. What is the purpose of you having the desire or the need? What is the purpose for the knowledge of the gate? I think is very important as to the ability of the seers, ability to see the gate, those that can and those that cannot possibly. And I'm sorry again for my voice. I will just listen and chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. I think, Rick, you can pick up, Ivona has put a link, but it would be wiser, I think, to use a screenshot of just the picture, because links are dangerous for Rick, because we are working on a public platform. We cannot get entangled with copyrights. So if you can, I hope more people have seen them, because there were so many for such a long time appearing. I didn't stood still either with it. But with Mr. Keshe saying last week that they are already existing, but people don't see them because they don't know what they are. It clicked on me to bring it up on the topic today, that they are there, they are present. Unfortunately, I have not taken no screenshots from it. Anybody else has any memory of those? I'll try to find them.
I see the article link that Yvonne supplied there, and I've run into that before. These are plasma tubes above the Earth's atmosphere and so on that tie back into the Earth according to the magnetic fields and whatnot. I'm not sure if that's the same thing that Mr. Keshe is talking about. I don't think it is. This is a physical phenomenon that they've actually measured, and I don't think that the Stargate type.
No, not it's not those. Oh, just 1 second, because Mr. Keshe sent them to me. Oh, I might have them. Just give me a second. And they are appearing in China, massive. Just 1 second, Rick. I will go and get them. It just triggered. Oh, I need to go back a way long. So I got them, but I didn't copy them.
We hear your fingerprints on your screen, actually.
I'm sorry.
It sounds like you're walking down a hallway.
I'm still. It's just my finger going over the screen.
Yeah, it's amazingly loud.
Just 1 second. They are baffling people because they are so beautiful. Oh, come on. Where are they? I have to go a long way. We have too much communication between one another. So I have to... Sorry for the noise. But I got them, that's for sure. And it was Mr. Keshe sent them to me. And I did.
There used to be a saying, let your fingers do the walking through the yellow pages. And that was the phone book, right? The yellow pages of the phone book. And your fingers used to walk through it a lot looking for numbers. In this case, we can hear your fingers walking through the yellow pages, you could say.
Just bear with me. I do apologize, but that's the only way I can go and get them. Come on.
I think, Caroline, that you showed these before, yes?
I don't know. I don't think so. And now and then I have to remove pictures from my database, so I hope they haven't disappeared. It's like a phenomenon. They have appeared in huge amounts, and he shared it with me, but I got so much communication with Mr. Keshe that
there's quite a few images of what could be called a sun halo or moon halos coming through recently.
No, they don't. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
It is different. It's like a curtain, but so many.
Well, we do have the what's called the Northern Lights, especially here in Canada, and that's a phenomenon of the electromagnetic interaction with the particles from the sun and so on. And it is becoming more and more, the ability to see the Northern Lights is becoming more southern. In other words, people in the southern areas are becoming more and more able to see the Northern Lights. And we also have the Earth's North Pole is rapidly, the magnetic North Pole has been shifting over many decades, and it is especially moving faster right now, which is part of that phenomenon as well. But I think it's something yet again different that you're speaking of.
Yep. I am surprised, I'm baffled that not many more people have noticed when they were passing on Facebook. Oh, I have difficulties to find them. And I can't reach Mr. Keshe to ask for them. I'm doing my most best to locate these. If my phone has registered them, then they should be in my logs. They're trying to keep it quiet because it's a very unusual phenomenon. And with Mr. Keshe saying that the portals are already there, but not visual to, or people don't understand what they see. And the funny thing is, I remember they came after I sent him a video of somebody who recorded spaceships. From 1, they became 5, and they opened up. He sent me those in reference. So I remember more or less even the time when he brought them. It's like a sign language. You bring this, I give you this. And they are not appearing in my...
Was that what you showed with Pia, or were those spaceships? I remember you looking for photos and bringing them up. Pia had done some photographs of clouds, and you had showed some formations with bright lights on the outside and things.
Yes, I know, but I'm not talking about spaceships. I'm talking about the portals which are visually on Earth. You can see them. And they
I think I know what you mean, Caroline. When you take a picture in the freezing climate of a light, you will see this light beaming to the sky. I think it's the same thing. What you?
No, darling, it's not. It is literally because it's sunshine. There's no cold air, anything.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's the same if you take a picture, it's the same thing. Look like this.
Nobody has found anything?
I saw some pictures outside of the sun with a disk formation, and they said like a circle like the sun, a smaller, of course, and they said that was a spaceship. Was that a portal?
No. You have to see it for me to understand what I'm referring to. Apparently, it skipped a lot of people's attention.
And if you see these things, is that something where you can create a point of interaction with them? Is that what you're leading to?
That is what Mr. Keshe is referring to. That will be the point of interaction with the universal community.
No, but if an individual was to see one, as you're describing.
People have just been able to take pictures and videos of them, but nobody has approached them to interact with them. As you're all busy, or a lot of us are busy on Facebook, and you haven't picked it up or you have no memory of it, it's strange to me because I didn't stand still with it at that time because most probably it was too early or too soon. But I remember Mr. Keshe sharing these with me, and he says, people are baffled. There's so many and it's so huge. But he kept quiet about it until recently, when he started talking about the portal, he confirmed it's already there. I don't know if it's the last one or the one before. He said the portal is already there.
Yes, it would be nice to know what they look like.
I'm not giving up. I'm still
I
going.
see that. You have a strong heartbeat there in your finger.
Yeah, we hear the thump of the finger, the fickle finger.
I don't know why it cannot go silent or more quiet. Why does it have to be so loud?
You would think, in this modern day and age, why would they amplify your fingers on the screen? But it's all connected because the tiny little microphone in there is probably thinking, why is this person tapping on the screen? And am I supposed to be recording this?
Is this something you'd see in a cloud formation or just like a window in the plain sky open?
No, it appears from the earth all the way up to the clouds.
Mark, the one that's by me, it doesn't matter if there's clouds or no clouds. It's just there when it decides to open. It's just there.
And can you see it, but can anybody else see it that's also there? Or is it in the mind's eye in a way, or you have to have the vision to be able to see it?
I have never had anybody with me at the time, but I would think that others could if they had been around and paying attention. But I've just never had people around, and I think it could be because it was a very quiet time for me. And again, applying the purpose. What is the purpose? What is the reason that you want to communicate beyond where you are in the moment? What is the need for the gate?
Right. Yes, I think that's an important question involved there.
Does it appear, Peggy, close to you, or does it appear more distant?
No, it's in the sky, but you can't quite tell exactly where it is. It's like when you're chasing a rainbow, and the rainbow, you can never quite get to the end to find that pot of gold. It's just there. No, it's not like I could reach out and touch it, but it's there. It's over a large area.
Rick, I send you a link. You can see it in the chat.
Maybe like a beam on the ground you could walk into. Or maybe you don't even need the matter state.
Like light pillars?
No, not really, not like that. It's so hard to describe. There's really nothing physical. It's the sensation. And I think what it is the human mind trying to apply what it knows in matter form to what the vision is that you're seeing when it opens and what occurs. But it's more of an energy. It's more of a feeling than a seeing. It's so hard for me to explain.
I've seen those light pillars, Sandor, and that's a ice or a moisture phenomena, yes?
And Jalal, I see your link there, but there's a whole bunch of images, and they are all copyright and so on. So we can't just show a bunch of images and then.
If you go a little bit down, you will see one image is really mysterious.
Which one of the 100 images are you talking about? And most of them aren't too mysterious. They all have natural answers to them, basically.
I used to joke that it was my back door into heaven. There's a church, and I remember, a few years back, they had one of those hydraulic platforms that goes up really, really, really high, like to the very tall church steeples. And the guys were on this platform and they're going up, and I started laughing and I said, see, there really is a back door to heaven, and they think they've got the key, but they don't. But I really would have loved it if the portal would have opened with that, and I would have been able to have a picture. That would have been awesome, of these men standing on this platform that was so high in the sky, and then to have the portal open. That would have been beautiful.
Does it look like at all a funnel type with a tail, where the bigger part would be up and the tail coming down to the earth, that sort of formation? Or is it like a lapping of two papers over one another, like a fold, and you see that? I know Carolina's looking for the pictures.
For me, it's very much a shape of an eye that opens, and it doesn't necessarily open. It's not smooth, like you're seeing straight lines and things like that, not like a drawing or something that in matter state that we think of. But the best way for me to describe it is as if an eye's opening. It separates that way slowly, and as it's opening, it's almost like the energies are, I don't know if they're going in or if they're coming out, but as it's opening is when you see different colors and things, and it gets your attention. But it's hard to tell what's beyond both sides of the opening for me. I just know that something's there and I can feel, it's more so feelings. But as far as like rays, I would say it's more like soft sunlight rays with different colors. It's not continual. It's not like somebody standing there holding a flashlight or something. It's not like that in any way. And the colors are not, they don't stay, they change. They metamorphosis is what word keeps coming to my mind. It
So it's
morphs.
a dynamic structure. It's not something that's just stationary and that's it sort of thing.
Very much, because I
I
thought
found
it
it,
was.
Greek. I found it in 6 September. It's CBC North. It's a picture from Caroline Post.
Thank you, Dan.
I tried to open my Facebook and sharing my screen.
And this is the way beings do travel in the universe, Mr. Keshe said. So it wouldn't be out of an ordinary realm to think there's many portals probably here from different operations.
Okay. I found the closest one that I can. It's not exactly what I would love to share, but it gives you an idea that maybe will bring a lot of memories. You remember these? You can see the picture?
Yeah.
They touch down and they just go up. They are infinite. But there are videos of these that people literally are taking videos while the beam is present. He's just driving past by. But this is the only one so far I have been able to find. But the ones Mr. Keshe has sent to me, these are hundreds of curtains like this, which are cylinder form, and they appeared all over China. Hundreds and hundreds of them. But I think he has removed the pictures from the account because I cannot trace them. I've been searching all this time. I cannot get back to them. So the only thing I can ask is for him.
Did you hear Dan? Did you hear Dan? He mentioned CBC North, 5th of September, and that it was a post. There was a Facebook post.
No, I can stop screen sharing till he shows his. I will carry on to look for them because these are not clear. But that's the kind of idea. And there are so many because this is white, but I have them even in rainbow colors.
Those are the pillars. Are those portals? That's amazing because I have seen those now, and I thought those were light pillars. I didn't realize that those were portals as well, Carolina. Wow, yeah. That is awesome.
These are the portals. And that's what Mr. Keshe said. They are already here, but people have not understood what they are.
They've been detected mainly over pyramids.
No. They are appearing everywhere on the planet. And in huge beams, not small beams, and several ones in the same area. But I told you, I didn't stand still, and I'm so sorry I didn't take no screenshots, and I didn't, apparently Mr. Keshe has removed. It's, maybe it was only time now for it. There it is. No, these are the north.
If Rick, the last one, I send it, Rick.
The last what?
The last address, I send it to you.
Oh, okay. It's a tiny little image, Jalal, and I don't know what it's of or where it's from or if it's copyright or not. Where does it come from?
Yeah, maybe it could be right.
And if you blow it up, you won't even be able to tell what it is because it's so small resolution.
Is Sandor still there?
I perhaps can I share in my screen? No, my screen, my video, my screen, or seeing the other telephone of
What do
my
you want
face.
to share? What do you want to share, Dan?
This picture of Caroline in post of Caroline. It's 3 October.
Where does the picture come from? Do we have permission to share it? Is what I'd like to know.
It's Caroline distribute one picture. It's 3 October from CBC with
right.
North.
So from the CBC, so therefore it's got copyright issues. That's the whole problem.
I can showing without seeing this only the picture. It's when I make
Can you send it to me privately so I can see what you're talking about there?
okay, I try distribute messenger Enrique. Okay, just a moment.
Your sound is really breaking up there, Dan. There's some problem with the transmission.
They do look, there's a similarity between the light pillars Sander was referring to. The articles I read about the light pillars was that it was a phenomena with moisture in the air and cold or something, or maybe not cold, but some moisture factor and light.
I send it Carolina and Patrick.
No, I didn't hear what you said there, Dan. It was breaking up so bad. You send it to Caroline, and I think that's what you said.
And you in Messenger.
Okay.
And you have a video UFO portal from Philippe Francois, Carolina distributing 21 September 2018 at 10 and 30 minutes. I'm sending also this. We receive.
Rick, I have sent you in the chat a few minutes ago, and there are several pictures, but the writing is in Spanish. It's about Salvador.
Fine. Can you send me some pictures that are not copyright, please?
Ricky, I save picture and this little video and another free.
I don't understand what you're saying, Dan. Sorry, you're gonna have to maybe try to change your microphone.
Okay.
Okay, these are. I'm not going to share this, Dan, from Facebook because it's somebody's video and it's not something that we can publicly just put on broadcasting here. Sorry.
Don't worry.
Facebook is made for sharing in Facebook. It's not, you can't just grab any video or any picture you see in Facebook and broadcast it. It's not necessarily public.
I understand. Okay. Because I tried to find.
I don't think that's. I don't think that's what Caroline's talking about. That's it's like a contrail thing or something.
Rick, hi.
Yeah.
I found as many as I could to explain what I mean. This was the first one I shared with you, yes? You will recognize the one in front of the car. I took even the time and the date where it appears because there is a video from it. How it appears is being videoed from a dash cam from out of the car. So I'm going to, this is northern light, yeah? Everybody knows this phenomenon. These are the northern lights, yeah? But you also see the color rays. Now, if we go to the next one, this is somebody who took this near to their house. But you see the reflection of the colors. This is a very tiny one. Then I go to the next one. You see it's been taken in South Fort Myers, Florida, August 15, 2015. And this one has been taken in Italy, August the 10th, 2015. But this one has another one, but I couldn't take them in the correct sequence. So I will get back to you about this. This is the one from the dash cam. That is a portal. But now you see this portal, you have to like stretch it open and it becomes like one huge curtain, and those are appearing or were appearing in China. I will ask Mr. Keshe for the footage of this and I will share it with you gladly.
Okay, and find out if those are the portals that Mr. Keshe is talking about, because that's not what I don't know if that's what he's talking about in terms of opening a portal to the universal community. I don't think that that's what that is.
He says it looks like a fish tank. Yeah, it will be transparent.
Well, but does he say that this is an actual portal to the universal community, or is this some other phenomenon? These pictures, like that, to me looks like a water spout on the water.
Yes, and on the right side you see the beam coming up, the same light beam. Yeah, I will get you clarification on this, and I will definitely ask Mr. Keshe. This is the one from Italy. This with the water which goes on the left, and then the beam on the right. This is from Italy, and this is the other one from Italy, and this is the one which Mr. Keshe. They look similar like this, and I will get you more footage on this for sure. And I hope we can bring it on the table on next Thursday.
Yeah.
discuss it with him so that he can open it up. If it is a phenomenon, I don't think so, because he was not willing to talk very much or explain much about it. But this is the time and the place where that beam was videoed, and there is a video of it. So maybe it gives more reference for people to find it. But this was not the only footage which appeared on Facebook. There's so many more, and I am so sorry I didn't take screenshots from them. But at that given moment, you know, when you go through it, you don't stand still with certain things. But they have more information in it than what we assume. Thank you for your patience. I tried to make it visually for you so that you have an idea when people see these appearing, that they have a bigger impact and they carry much more than what we assume they do.
Carolina,
yes.
The pictures that you showed, not of the Northern Lights, but the one after that had the colors, and that the shafts are thinner on the ends, aren't solid, that is similar to the movements, but they move. They don't just stay in that place. But of the ones from here, when it opens, and they're inside also, they're above and below, but it's because I'm seeing them on an angle at a distance. And it's not like I'm standing to be able to look straight up into it or anything, but the colors that you showed, the ones with the colors, not the Northern Light ones, but the ones that they're almost like sun rays, I guess. They're thinner.
Now,
so would that not be, maybe it's something else, maybe.
Now, the funny part is when you look at this, it's the same kind of light strength, the white. This is coming from the presentation where Mr. Keshe opened this about what has been achieved in the different research and development labs. And you see the light bulb is also a very strong white light, and the colors. And in the last teaching of Mr. Keshe, he refers everywhere towards the emotion, the light, and the colors, and even the sound. But my curiosity was, how does anyone feel about these portals, and what will it bring for humanity? And what is our purpose to serve for those to appear? I'm sorry, it was a very long search just to find a simple picture to describe what the meaning is when you see a light beam like this.
For me, the purpose to serve is to bring loving, healing energies that are calming and caring to the world and all its beings. That's what I feel when I see the one that I see.
Eric, apparently you have a different idea about the portal.
Yeah, I think the portals will be created, not just randomly appear all over the place. First of all, I don't think it'll be necessarily manifest to cameras and to eyeballs all over the place. I think that those who are able to see already know about the existence of portals and how to use them. And they're already there. If you don't see them now, then you probably may not see them later. And that they are invisible normally. And you have to train yourself, or perhaps they'll become more visible. But there's lots of other phenomenon like the Northern Lights and like different shafts of light and other things that might seem like a portal and might remind us of a portal and might be similar to a portal, but it's not really a portal. It's a phenomenon. So I think we have to distinguish the phenomenon of light things with the idea of a portal, which we may or may not be able to have a bunch of manifestation. We may or may not be able to take a picture of it with our camera.
I doubt, because with the footage that Mr. Keshe sent to me, there was a lot of amazing reaction to it. And when Mr. Keshe goes quiet and my intuition tells me something else, it's usually I need to follow my intuition. So
well, that's a good indicator, yeah.
So I usually do, because, you know, before certain things come into the open, there are already the signs, as we say, on the walls that are directing you, this is what is about to come. And in one of my private teachings, Jeanette opened a very specific topic. And please do go and listen to that private teaching. She shared quite a lot of knowledge, and a lot of more knowledge has come to open with that and because of that. And the funny part is that I received a gift just before Christmas, and 2 days later, Mr. Keshe opened the gift to humanity that these portals will be created. And it is amazing how you get the sequence of events preparing you before what is about to come. So I have learned to trust my intuition, that very shortly before that, he gave me those images of those beams, which I was trying to show you because I couldn't. You cannot verbally explain. It's something you need to see to have that impression, what it gives to you as in not only an image, but the information which is right there in front of you. Some of them are exactly as you say, Rick, they are just a phenomenon, but they are much more, and they appear on too many places in too many different parts of the world. And as Mr. Keshe said, you think you're alone here on this planet, forget about it. We are sharing this planet. So I think there is more to it, and it is a beautiful more to it. But I think we might prickle or tickle Mr. Keshe to bring it on Thursday morning. And I will ask him to bring the pictures that he sent to me. Apparently I can't find them, but maybe there is a reason for him to share it with all of you. I will see what comes out.
Yeah, this will be a good topic, and obviously it piques the interest of many people. As soon as we mentioned this idea of portals and light columns and so on, everyone's been sending links about all these different pictures and different things and articles and videos and so on. And
that is
they're all of different things and so on, different phenomenon. But
yes.
Is this the portal that Mr. Keshe is discussing? This is the thing. So this will be a great explanation. I think we'll put him on the spot.
I think it will be, like he says, the image is and will be like a fish tank, but it will be a field strength. It will not be in matter state. So it will have, and the only thing I could bring forward was these light beams, because that's what the image I got from him when he starts talking about it. And all the other beautiful information he's given by We don't need to die anymore. That was I cried, Rick. I literally sat and I just cried when he put this on the table, that people do not have to go through the death anymore to leave the body, but that we can carry on if we want to with the work that gives us so much pleasure or can serve so many, that we get more time to finish our jobs and our purpose to serve. It just took my heart away. Because a lot of people need more time to understand and to learn who we are and what we are. And that will remove the fear from humanity if they can stay longer to acquire this knowledge and this maturity and to grow into knowing where they are going to travel when they will put their body down, but not through the gate as what we are going through, to this death phase and the fear of it. That is so scaring for so many people, to just let the body go, when actually Mr. Keshe says it is your journey you start. But it's so hard for so many to accept. It is devastating for a lot of people because they think they lost their loved ones, but actually they never lose them. They should actually appreciate the journey they were about to take. But I think humanity needs more time in that matter to mature, that they can extend their lifetime or their time here on earth to obtain that maturity and to go in peace and not in distress and in agony and in so much pain and suffering. That was one of the most beautiful messages Mr. Keshe could have given to humanity just before ending of 2018. I do not know how many knowledge seekers stood still with that topic. Has anybody picked it up that this was a gift to humanity? If you missed it, please go back to that part of that teaching. He's giving you the gift.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. And thank you, Carolina, because this reconfirmation, I had been hoping that that's what my understanding, that my understanding was correct after his teaching. So thank you very much. Hugs and kisses all around.
Anybody else has picked it up? Or has anybody else picked more information up on that day? Don't be shy. Come on, share.
Hi, this is Ursula.
Hi, Ursula.
I wish you really a beautiful year. It's starting so strong. And at this day, I was going with the car and I saw a rainbow and on a cloud, so bright. I took it in photos. It was just amazing. And this was my personal sign and confirmation, because we need all confirmation, of course. And even if we know inside what is happening, and we have all signs, personal signs, and coincidences and all this kind of gifts, so beautiful. And this end of the year, the last year with our families, I'm sure we have all had some moments, aha moments, and with our children, with our parents, with whatever, and all what is happening all around the world, so strong and sometimes so sad to see, and we know it's the end. So these signs are coming to us to help us to believe and to follow our mission and go ahead with all the beauties we can share, we can experience and teach. And once again, what is happening in our Spanish community is just amazing. We start yesterday our agriculture teaching, and every Monday will be this. And it's so amazing what is happening everywhere, so many people coming up and talking and sharing, and everybody in his language. And wow, it's just amazing. Gives many powerful feelings, and we know that we are on the right way. And thanks to all what we learned in our foundation, our beloved foundation with you and Mr. Keshe. And wow, it's just amazing. Thank you so much, because this gives us hope, this gives us knowledge and power. So we are strong now to start this year with very beautiful feelings and friendship, and the biggest gift we could have in our lives to follow up and follow through. So thank you so much, and very happy to start this first world peace together. We are 33. We have been 33 all long. Now we are 34. It's a nice number, and we will be much more. We feel it, and we are all together. Thank you very much.
Very nice, Ursula.
Thank you.
Are you still there, Caroline? Your microphone is muted, so I'm not sure if you were speaking and couldn't hear you.
No. I'm there. I'm just trying to avoid you hearing me walking.
Yeah, you're still walking through the yellow pages, eh? It's a big book. You might be there a while.
I would love to have more input from the knowledge seekers. How did they feel when this message came on the table? That we don't need to go through the dying process, that we can be set free of that and go on our own terms and understanding. Anybody else wants to share more?
Well, I need to go back and to listen to that again, but I remember some of the teachings in 2015 where he said if you wanted to delay the separation between the soul and physicality, you know, he can show you how to delay that.
Now that has been granted.
And that's so beautiful. And it's to start.
Let me tell you what I felt when I heard it. I laughed because for 3 years I'm telling my wife I will go when I wish to go, and I will be here forever. And when I hear it, I laughed, and I forget about it. And now when you speak about it, I came through the same feelings, and I laughed again. Because it looked like you know it before, you know, this feeling.
Thank you, Jalal. Anybody else picked it up?
Carolina.
Emotion with it, yes?
It's Peggy again. When I was listening and that's what I thought I heard, my immediate instinct was an old saying that I've had and I used in business many, many times as a joke. I used to say that God put me on this earth to accomplish a certain amount of tasks, and I am so far behind, he may never let me die. And of course, when I thought that's what Mr. Keshe was saying, that we would be extending, I just thought of that saying and started laughing, thinking I got to get better because I've got lots of work to get caught up on. So I thought I would share a chuckle.
I think a lot of people which have a lot to do, I think they all got that same feeling. I think we have so much to do that we cannot let go because we know our mission is to serve so many. And I think that is the main purpose why we are here. As Mr. Keshe said, you think you appear here and you are here. I still see him saying it in Barletta. Just one sec. He said in front of the students, he said, you think that you're sitting here right in front of me by your own choice? Forget about it. He says, your soul has taken you by the hand and has put you here for a purpose to serve. And I think that is the trigger which came with this announcement that the souls which are here to do their job and for the purpose what we agreed among souls, because don't forget, maybe a lot of people have not stood still with it, that is that I learned this a very, very long time ago. And I mean, but I didn't understand it. I only start understanding it very recently. When Shaman told me, he said, you don't need to worry about anything. He says, nothing will go wrong. It was about a very specific event that was about to take place, which was not in my hands, but I was quite very panicky that this appeared this way. It has been discussed in one of my private teachings, so you can go and listen to it. And he assured me, but that time I was not at that maturity to trust, let alone myself and information he was sharing with me. And he said, you don't need to worry about anything. He will not appear to do that damage, he says, because it's already been decided on soul level. And I still went through the whole emotion and the fear and whatever comes with that kind of situation. But he was right. And it didn't click until Mr. Keshe did start the soul teachings. What that person shared with me was so correct and so true. So your soul decides, as Mr. Keshe says, your day of judgment is not towards God or the Creator, it's with your own soul, because your soul will not allow you to pass anywhere or accept anything if you're not entitled to receive or to go. So your soul is the communicator, and it is towards our physicality to try to uplift or to match as near to our soul as possible, for your soul to set free, for your physicality to go into an easier position. And it is not easy. So the people who have heard that message, and or when you go back now to listen to it, just analyze how you respond in your emotional field strength to that message. If your journey will be the same as I responded, with crying and being so happy that that ban has been released from humanity, maybe not tomorrow, but in the very near future, because we're all working towards it, that humanity can do that transition without the pain and the suffering. It's a gift to become to the maturity to walk out when your time is right, when you decide, and in peace. And that is what struck me so beautiful. I can finish my job, what I came to do for. So people, for the ones who have missed it, please go back. It's a gift. He's giving you.
Yes. And didn't Mr. Keshe say that when the person walks into the porthole, he'll just be there? It'll look like he's not going anywhere. I thought I recall Mr. Keshe saying that, but of course he is at the soul field level. Or does someone understand the physicality is actually moving? At this point, my understanding is no.
Perhaps it depends on what's in one's intention, what one's intention is with the portal. What business does one have with the portal? What is the business of interacting with the portal? What is that all about? Why would we need a portal? Why would we wish to interact with the portal? What do we accomplish through that?
Well, if I was to not be nice to you through this portal we're using now and you weren't to be nice to me, we wouldn't want to meet each other. I wouldn't want to invite you to my house, right? Or you wouldn't want to have me to your home. So,
well, I invite all people into this portal, whether they're nice or not, until they become a problem when they get booted out. The naughty or nice is not so much the issue with the portal, but if you don't have a good attitude going into it, surely the results will be differing than others that would have a positive, like that positive attitude has to be, I think, part of the equation in order to even see the portal to start with. Perhaps those with ill intent might not be able to manifest being in that presence of the portal, or it may not allow the portal to even open.
And it was to be getting used to seeing in how we react to other beings and how other beings react to us, sort of at a distance, maybe, until we become closer to begin with using the portal.
Well, in a way, these live streaming portals might be considered to be portals in a way, because here we are communicating with each other through mostly the power of voice, because we are not using our images. We're not even actually using any image other than the screen sharing that we see of the, One Nation image there. And so all of our images, all of our visuals are actually going on inside our mind, inside of our inner vision right now. As I speak to Mark and Mark speaks to me, I assume there's another being that looks like the image of Mark on the other end, but for all I know, it could be some alien in space that I'm talking to, and this happens to be the medium through which we're communicating, this portal that we call the Zoom or live stream or other things like that. But in this case, we're using the Zoom portal, and we get to be in communication through that portal. And for what purpose? Well, it's not just to say hi and kind of talk about the weather or whatever. It's because we're here gathered, like Caroline says, and in a way we're on a mission. Every one of us has our own mission in life, and through interaction of the portal, we get to maybe come closer to what that mission is. And interact with others who have a mission as well, and you start to feel that commonness. There's a common thread. There's a common feeling that people have that are on this mission, involved with this work of elevating the whole of everything, essentially. And that's part of this process that's going
and
on.
it is very beautiful mission to have new one, and that is peace. Unified.
Right, and
go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just saying, and these portals are going to facilitate the idea. Like if you had a being showing up at your back door one night, that would not be very good. This way, with the portals, both beings are agreeing that they do want to interact. Or if I was to show up, if I had the technology on someone else's back door unannounced and say, oh, gee, I want to meet you. Well, if both parties are agreeing, then I think it'll be a mutual benefit to both parties, or many parties.
I understand it like you're going from one room to another room.
And the other part is also going from one room to another room, so you have like a common meeting room, you could say.
Yes.
Where both parties agree to want to learn and be peaceful and to interact and to understand more.
It's already there is connection, but we need to open eyes only. It's like you open your eyes, that's all. This is the difference between plasma and metal state.
We've got Alex and up here. If you want to go ahead, Alex. And Jalal, if you could mute your mic when you're not talking, they're getting an echo from it, I think, from your speakers being up. Okay.
Thanks very much, Rick. I really want to address this to Caroline's question directly because it's a tremendous question. Because of the conversation, I'm just going to try and narrow it down to 4 points. The first thing is the quality of our life is really woeful, the way we've been running it, and so what that tells us is that it's not working. So all we have to do really is just turn around 180 degrees and say, well, if this is not working, then the other thing must be correct. So the shock that we have from this disclosure with respect to the portals, it really shouldn't be a shock at all because it's actually been suppressed and it's been called a conspiracy theory. So, and I discussed this morning about theories, and of course a theory that's proven wrong is no longer a theory. It needs to go to the garbage dump. So it is a conspiracy. So the way to overcome that, just turn around 180 degrees. You know, you're going down a one-way street and you're going the wrong way, you got to turn around. When we turn around, the interesting thing for us, the thing that is most lacking, really, and then why we turn around is because what we're doing is kind of useless. So by usefulness, it gives us a sense of purpose. So when we look at what we are doing or what we have been doing in a matter-state reality, a small m matter-state reality on this planet, it's not working. I mean, this is, you know, the people say it as a joke. You know, you go to school, you go to get a job, you get married, and you die. You know, so that's not the purpose of life. There are other purposes. So what are these purposes? Well, inherently, we know what these purposes are. The nice part about it is we're having a convergence. There's a convergence of forces. So we are not alone. We are not alone amongst ourselves. We are not alone by ourselves. And we are not alone as a species on this planet. So now it's coming out. You got questions? No, listen. The answers that we've been getting are not working. They don't make sense. It makes more sense that we are not alone. It absolutely makes more sense. This isn't unbelievable. It's unbelievable that we think it unbelievable. And so why? Because there are other forces that, are not working in our favor. And we can put them under the category of they're going to get you. They're going to get you if you exchange energy with them. So we have to be discreet. We can't just exchange energy with everything that's out there. So we know that, there are certain groups that are not functioning properly. We also know, in our opinion, my opinion, our opinion, humans' opinion, they don't work like normal human beings. They work like hooligans. And then, of course, viruses. How do viruses work? Well, they work totally for their own purpose and benefit, and they're energy suckers. So, do we want to entertain ourselves with energy suckers? Sure, we have a lot of energy to spare. But, are we the conduit for their energy? And should we be? No, just because we have a purpose. And being a feeding system for an energy sucker, I don't believe is our purpose. So I don't feel comfortable with it. So do I have the answers? No, I don't. But do I have a sense of that it's a good way to go? Yes, I do. Where did that come from? Well, because life is for learning, and life is not for entertaining hooligans. Life has a greater sense of purpose. What is that purpose, and how do we describe it? The English language or whatever language we're using is sometimes deficient, but when we start to get a picture, we start to utilize our plasmatic capabilities, and then we realize, oh, wait a second, we are plasmatic beings. Well, if we're plasmatic beings and now we can communicate with the rest of the universe, the question really becomes, does the rest of the universe want to communicate with us? Well, so this is where the maturity comes in. And so I think the convergence of forces is in timing and in synchronization with the maturity of the human beings and the human race, because we've come to the point where we've realized, many of us have realized, and it won't take much convincing for the rest of the people because of all the heartache that is going on out there. So, you give me, hamburger, or you give me filet mignon, I'm going to take the filet mignon every time. But a lady once said, I've been rich and I've been poor, and rich is better. Well, the thing is, yeah. So we have choices to make, and so these choices we have to look for better or poorer, and we can make that choice. We didn't know. I didn't know. Many didn't know, and many don't even know now. But things have changed. The rules of the game have changed, and so it's a very exciting time to be alive. Thanks for letting me jump in here.
Thank you very much. But can you go to how you felt if you heard that message?
So you mean when I heard it for the first time?
When Mr. Keshe brought it in the teaching that this will be terminated, the dying part.
Oh, I felt relieved. I felt liberated.
You felt relief too?
Well, yeah, because, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, everybody looks at you like you're a wacko, and because we're groupies. We have a gang mentality. Why do they have a gang? Because the gang mentality stems from a fearfulness. It's a lot easier if I'm in a gang, then the gang has an attitude, and you're going to have to take the whole gang on. So it's a lot easier to go as a gang. But I think of the old cigarette commercials, the old gold commercial where, you know, they were smoking, and the old gold man would get on his horse and ride into the desert alone. Well, if that were the case, if only one man smoked old gold cigarettes, then they wouldn't be in business very long. So what they were really saying was that, well, if you go alone into the, you know, you're the leader of the pack, and then everybody starts smoking old gold cigarettes, who's the leader of the pack? You're all in the same pack. It's a pack of leaders. That's not leadership. That's gang mentality. So we have been reluctant to make the move, and rightfully so. And now it's getting more and more intense because there are people who are not happy with what we're doing. Well, why? Because, you know, they have been enjoying a certain kind of lily pad in their life, and it's been at our expense. Well, there's more of us than there are them. So, you know, this gang has been asleep. So I think now the gang is realizing that the gang is getting bigger, and there's a convergence of forces. But you know, each one of us has a capability of being the last man standing. And so that invokes something that, you know, we really have never had before, not in our society, is responsibility. Why would I want responsibility? You know, I'm sick and it's not my fault, so I better call the doctor. He knows what to do. Or, you know, I can't, you know. Anyway, it's always passing the buck. The buck really has to stop here. We're the ones who can do it. How can we do it? Do we have the skills to do it? Do we have the knowledge to do it? Do we even know that we can do it? Well, that's all come out. So, and it's not just from the Keshe Foundation. We look at the civilian journalists who discovered that the mainstream media is controlled by 6 people, and they're all talking the same thing. So they're in lockstep, like an army. Well, that army is easy to bust up because it's a small army, and they work in a certain way, and you just change the rules, and they're going to fall apart. We have new rules coming. We have new capabilities coming. Plasma energy is higher than matter state energy. So, you know, by definition, it's not a contest. And life is not a contest. So what we have to do is we have to discover what our sense of purpose. Each of us has a journey. Each of us has a different sense of purpose. But really, life is interdependent. So now that more of us are becoming aware of this and actually talking about it on an open forum like this, the relief comes in because, you know, we're no longer looked at as the crazy ones. The crazy ones have been running the crazy house. So, you know, we're becoming freer. So yeah, relief was the one-word answer to your question.
I am very glad that you share the same feeling which I had. It was like a gift, an unbelievably big, huge gift, because in so many ways it allows us as Mr. Keshe said in one of his teachings, that you come back because things were missing or incomplete or not sufficient enough energy. And now we have given the opportunity and the freedom to complete that maturity. Because I have gone through something very strange. I caught a very bad cold and I was coughing very badly. And I always try to get out of it myself and see how far it is going to go. And then I tried the ganses and I tried so many things. And I got stuck, really stuck with the coughing, especially the coughing. And I thought, there is an answer, but I don't see it. There is a wisdom in it, but I don't see it. And so I went to one of my books to go to search on the topic of the emotion explanation. Why is it there emotionally that I can't get rid of it? And then it was like, you know, you go back to the purpose where it started, what happened, and how did you position yourself in what has happened, and how have you responded to it? So when I was going through that reading about the coughing, it had a very specific message. And that is, stop being angry with yourself. And I thought, where am I so angry with myself that I can't stop coughing? And it says, just be happy. Create happiness in who you are and what you are. And I remember from 4 or 5 years ago, a lady that passed my path, crossed my path, and she said, I was suffering when I was a child. And she says, you know, the best thing to do, and I forgot her good advice, but it all came back when I started reading it. She says, when I was going through these stress periods, the best thing you can do, she says, is just sing within yourself, happy, and she said her name. She says, I was singing to myself, happy, 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 and she was calling her own name. She says, that's how you change your field strength. That's how you change yourself to become, to keep that nasty and that negative, what we put all these words or fancy words on it, but it's literally you're changing your inner field strength. And the last teaching of Mr. Keshe, when you listen to it, he explains. He says, music and the sound of the universe, and how you can determine how you are in your physicality if you tune yourself into the melody of your soul and the sound of the universe, which is where you came from. And it is so beautiful and it's so sweet. So he says, when you're humming, you create that vibration which puts you into a higher field strength. So people which have gone through a very bad patch, or maybe even through the days that they lost somebody just around or before this period of time, it's not always that everybody has a good time. A lot of people are confronted with a lot of pain around these periods. So if you want to elevate or support somebody, give him that little bit of information. Maybe it will pull himself above that sadness or that pain. Explain to him, when you sing to yourself, happy, happy, you yourself, it starts the process of the changing. Mr. Keshe really explained it very beautiful. So you can tune your condition with understanding what is wrong, where it has gone wrong, and what is going on. And you can tune yourself with the knowledge he has given to make that change, for you to pull above that, what makes you sad or brings you down or makes you sick. And as my coffin has reduced more than half, I would have not been able to speak to you today without being interrupted every 2 or 5 minutes with a burst of coughing. So there was a sadness, there was an anger, there was something I didn't understand. So then I remembered what she given me as a small gift, and I start singing within me towards myself, you know, you're a happy girl, you have everything you need. And I'm reversing the process of the condition. And I knew I understood.
I have two things I'd like to add.
Yes.
Well, first of all, on a physical basis, the coughing is a method of detoxifying. I mean, you're expectorating something that is toxic to you, and you don't like it, so that your body's reflex to get rid of it. And the real question is, what is it that's within you that you want to get rid of, and how did you get it in there? Because you certainly didn't want it within you. And this is the difference between the physicality and the plasmatic reality. The toxicity that we get in within us isn't always just physical. Even in our bodies, it is not just physical. It is one of the ways that it gets in. And so the second point that I wanted to make was that, here in Canada, they just legalized marijuana. And, I'm not going to say that they add anything to it, but, one of the companies has been accused of having too much mold in it. And, you find there's a lot of people coughing more and more. And then, of course, the second thing is the African swine flu. And, so I want to leave those subjects alone because the answers there are very obvious. But with respect to the toxicity coming within you on a plasmatic basis is because that they also, from the physical and the intent, they also create a plasmatic condition. And, and they also create a plasmatic condition. So they get absorbed. Our plasmatic condition absorbs that. So we absorb a toxic condition, we don't even know that we're absorbing it. And because it's in opposition to our basic soul ideals, we have ideals, whether we recognize them or not, and that's the point. So in an unconscious basis, we recognize our soul ideals, and we respond to them as a toxicity. So as a toxicity, we want to get rid of that, and so that causes the coughing. And it only comes to the foreground when you start to realize that I have this toxicity, I don't agree with it, now I want to do something about it. So you start coughing. And of course, the anger is a trigger. I get that as well, so I just share that with you. But so why is that triggering? Well, because we are part of the problem, you see. We have such a high opinion of ourselves, so someone takes advantage of us that way. We kind of feel ashamed that we've been duped. And when we look at our life and the way we've been told about our life, we've always been told, that the government looks after us, our parents look after us, our friends look after us, and then in the greatest time of greatest need, you look around, they're all gone. And why are they gone? They're gone hiding, especially because some of them have been working on a covert basis to undermine everything that you're doing. And you say, well, what kind of friends are those? And then you find that they're actually schools that teach that. So they know that there's a physical and a spiritual aspect to it, and so they work on both of it. And then so you feel hurt, and most importantly, you feel ashamed that you've been played as a donkey, and I feel so stupid sometimes. I said, well, how come I didn't know that, But I found out at the age of 40, and I didn't take it very lightly. So, yeah, not only did I detoxify a lot of things, and I did cough an awful lot, but at this point in time still, in the environment, there's a lot of toxicity in it, and so when you want to detoxify, you start coughing a lot. And so that's a natural reaction. So whether or not it's a physical detoxification or a plasmatic on a soul level detoxification, it all represents the same thing. So what you've done is actually you've comforted yourself, and that is a very wonderful thing to do, because the harshest critics are ourselves, actually, because we know the truth, and that's a part of the situation that a lot of people don't understand. You can lie to whoever you want, but you can't lie to yourself. I don't care how good a liar you are, you just can't do it. So you know the truth, and you know the truth better than anybody. So when you hurt yourself that way, you're causing all sorts of damage. So now that we can forgive ourselves just as gracefully as we hurt ourselves through criticism. So, and we have a choice. Do we criticize ourselves harshly and say, oh, you know, you were pretty stupid to do that? Or do we say, oh, you know, I'm a happy person, I'm a good person, I really had good intentions, and I got duped, so, you know, too bad, so here we go. Now I learned, and, you know, do it once, shame on you. Do it twice, shame on me. So it's not going to happen again. I change my ways, understand. So, and sometimes it's the 180 degrees. You're going the wrong way on the one-way street. How do you find out? Well, when the car hits you head on, oops, I've survived that, thank you. I'm going to go the other way, and we better do that. So, all of us here in the foundation are going the other way, and because we have a new sense of purpose, and we have to all search for what that is. That gives us a tremendous amount of satisfaction. And then when we realize that, we just have to be gentler on ourselves and understand that, oh, you know, I'm 30 years old, I'm 40 years old, I'm 80 years old, you know, all those years I wasted. Well, you know, it's what it took to gain maturity. So be kind to yourself, and just get rid of the toxicity, and let's move forward, because there's no reason to need to carry forward. There's no rule that says, oh, well, you know, you're a screw up, so you got to carry that badge of honor, the screw up badge of honor. You know, today is the first day of the rest of your life, so enjoy and have fun. And I'm talking too much.
Okay, thank you, Alex, for your revelations there and insight.
It's my pleasure, Rick. I'm really honored to be part of this process.
And Alex is part of the private teaching as well, and as students know and enjoy his classes. Is there anybody else that would like to have a comment or go ahead with something at this point?
What time frame are we, Rick?
We're up at the 3-hour mark here now, so it might be a good time to close.
If everybody is agree, yeah, why not?
Mark says, Mr. Keshe just stamped our ticket, good for billions of years. Compliments of the universal community, freely, no charges, truly phenomenal. Good closing comment, Mark. Thank you for that.
Okay. So, anybody, anything anymore?
Just one comment from Dan that's worth repeating here as well, which represents my point of view as well as when we're talking about portals. The possibility of joining the universal communities to have the other entities through that portal of souls. So it's a communication with other entities through that portal is the idea there that I like. Well, I think that would be a good way to wrap things up here. Thank you for today's teaching, Carolina, bringing your insights and opening up the portal.
Yep, we are maturing, and we are using, or we're bringing forward what has been given as a gift. So the only beauty we can do is share it publicly and see how we can evolve and mature with understanding and make like a small light beam for the people who missed it. It's not worth missing such a beautiful gift. So if there's no more sharing from nobody, or shall we go out with a wish? What wish could we create for today to go on our panel? Anybody, any ideas? Because we know they're working.
Hi, Mrs. Keshe. This is Rick in Colorado. I think we should wish to all meet at a portal together. Let's meet there.
We can wish that Mr. Keshe opens it up more on next Thursday.
Carolina, I have a wish. This is Marshak speaking.
Yep.
Let us make the rest of our days worthwhile, which is going to be a long, long time.
Are you looking up against it? That is going to be...
No,
because...
it will be fun. I mean, it will be fun for a long, long time.
So that will be the most beautiful long, long, long time you're going to be somewhere. And apparently it's still peanuts when you compare it to the existence in the universe, which is infinite.
Well, I can't count that far, but let's make it well. And those who are not making it well, they will give them enough for them to be our participants.
The beauty is, Moshfak, that you're going to have the freedom. So when you get fed up, you're going to be able to go. So
I like the idea of coming and going. So that's I think I like that idea much better.
That's their true nature is of voyagers, not dwellers of the earth, perhaps.
I think this is one of the most heaviest maturing systems in the universe.
Yeah, well, that's planet Earth. Either here for the ride and the fun, or to go through a transformation. That's you got to learn to like it.
Or make it such that we like it.
Well, it might be possible to learn to like any part of the evolutionary process. Once you understand it is part of the evolutionary process, it makes it way easier to get through, to start with.
Yeah, but isn't it time, Moshfak?
Yes.
Isn't it time to ask, why would it not be a pleasurable journey at this given moment? What defines that it can be more pleasurable, as actually it should be the most pleasurable time that we are spending here?
It is very pleasurable because we are seeing all the change and we are part of it. How can it be any better?
So your wish?
My wish is that this continue and see more results out of it.
So your wish, specific, formulated, is?
Oh, you want me to be more specific?
Of course, otherwise the wish will not take its position.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny wish to wish for everything to continue. It's kind of open-ended.
Such that we evolve together, helping each other, and those who are a little behind will also join us, and those of us who proceed a little faster, they will help those who don't. And in that way, we will all be proceeding together, human and others, and perhaps the other people on the other side of the portal as well.
My wish is that
I
the
think
portal.
I've added enough to it.
My wish is that the portals begin to appear all over all the countries, as you stated. Mr. Keshe said they were appearing in China, and would be strange to see a lot one day while you're driving down the street, and the next day you see a building of light there. You'd have to acknowledge it and start being curious. So, yes, if they of these all over the place, I think the planet would be pretty rapidly upgraded.
Let me add one more thing to the wish now that Mark mentions about the portal. Let us make good use of this portal. Or shall I say, learn to make good use of the portal.
Well, we heard that cough.
Yeah, sorry. I noticed too late my microphone was open. Sorry.
Can I say something? A wish?
Was my wish too stressful for you? No, I hope not.
Go ahead, stop.
I'm just joking.
Thank you, Moshfek. Go ahead, Estella.
Go ahead.
Can't hear you now, Estella. I think something happened to her mic there. She did put in the comments as I was going to voice. She said simply, "We are Voyagers." All right. Are there any other comments before we wrap up here then? We have a hand up. Mehran, go ahead. Mehran, did you want to say something? You have to unmute. Oh, there you go.
I just got a good nap all of a sudden. I don't know why after the portals. I said maybe that made me this effect. Now I wake up and I think everybody's going somewhere together because I hope there is some kind of filter that the nasty people don't go with the good people don't go with the aggressive people, because I like to be in peace next time. I like to have everybody nice and sincere and kind and loving and things like that, like children. I don't want people who start again their games and make us trouble.
Do you have that in your life now?
I personally don't watch TV. At least I don't have that opening. But I think if I watch the TV,
well, okay, but do you have all these nasty people in your life now?
I mean, no, not for me, but...
okay, then you probably won't when you go into the portal as well. Nothing will be different. Nothing will be different. It's just that you get to communicate with others in the portal.
Yeah, okay. If it's the same one, it's just perfect.
All right, great. No TV. Don't have to worry. It's your own TV. That's the thing. So if you bring it up, then it'll manifest right there in front of you. But if it doesn't, occur in your mind and you don't bring it up for others, then it won't manifest.
Well, they do. Well, maybe we came to clean all that. But
I haven't watched TV for 40 years. I don't even know what's on and have no idea about TV.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should wrap it up. Thank you, Mehran.
Thank you very much.
All right. This has been the 62nd One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace for Tuesday, January 15th, 2019. And thank you, everybody, for attending this portal. And I invite you to open up a portal in a vicinity near you and see what portal means. Let's try to get more and more meaning into this word of portal, and we'll find out more in the Knowledge Seekers Workshop coming up on Thursday at 9 a.m. Central European Time. Same channel, same place. Okay, thank you everyone for today's workshop. And bye for now.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, team. See you in the next few days, Knowledge Seekers. Wish for a beautiful wish. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Bye.
Bye.
Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on Earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. keshefoundation.org/donate.
Plasma products found at keshefoundation.org/store. Soothing, reusable plasma eye and migraine mask. Eliminate eye fatigue and relieve stress in eye area. European certified medical device. Massaging plasma insoles. Bring comfort back to your feet and energize your legs. European CE certified medical device. Antiseptic plasma liquid hand soap. Promotes well-being and relaxation with protective plasma formula. CE certified. One Soul Plasma T-shirt. GAN's formula within the symbols and stripes brings mind, soul, and body into balance. European certified. Pain Relief Pen emits a concentrated plasma field at point of pain, efficient up to 3 centimeters below the skin. CE certified. The Magrav's Energizer and Alkalizer raises pH and energizes water through magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Pain Relief Pad, a result of years of research in nanoplasma technology with magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Visit the online store at keshfoundation.org/store or find a distributor near you.